Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so now we're talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors, the ones that had their little issue with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole a couple days ago. Yeah, we're the very next team they see. It's us. We're the team that gets to view the team directly after something like that happens. So it's going to be a spirited night, even though it's going to be a preseason matchup. I honestly think that this could go a lot of different ways in terms of the vibes of the team. Of course, the score does not matter in the preseason. I'd imagine Steve Kerr and Darvin Ham are still going to play it that way, as if it doesn't matter, and that they'll throw their younger players out there and kind of give us looks that we probably will not see in the regular season. Of course, we've got to talk about the injury report. Troy Brown, the back, still not available. Also, Dennis Schroeder, even though his situation has been taken care of, he's still not quite with the team. We expect that he's going to be joining the team this week, though. So he's not there. And what else? There was another name that I heard. Oh, of course, Juan Toscano Anderson in the thigh contusion. He did not practice with the team. I do not expect he's going to play tonight. I didn't see anything official about his status, but that's what we have. So that's what I know. Didn't hear anything about AD not playing. Didn't hear anything about Braun not playing. Didn't hear anything about Westbrook not playing. See where I'm going with that? Maybe we have our stars tonight. Maybe everybody gets back on the floor, because I know we had a back-to-back in the preseason in Vegas, and I figured that we would kind of rest our guys for those games and kind of not acknowledge that we have this back-to-back that they're trying to showcase everything about. I felt that Darvin Ham and the Lakers handled that very, very well as an organization. Play your young guys, don't feed into that, and stay healthy. So that's one of those situations where we wish we could have walked out of there with Juan being 100%, but other than that, it is what it is. We don't like back-to-backs in the preseason here, not at all. So now we move on. Golden State Warriors. Jordan Poole was seen shooting with the team, right after that situation took place. He was in the practice facility since then as well. I've seen photos, so I'd imagine he's a go. I didn't hear anything about them sitting him for any reason. So that's a strong jaw that man has. I don't think I could have been all right. Probably would have had to wire mine, but Jordan Poole's a tough dude, and one thing that we know for a fact, he's not a fighter, but he is a basketball player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he lights us up tonight if given minutes. And I also wouldn't be surprised if he does not play at all, because he's a main player on that team. He's somebody who's going to be getting a lot of money very soon, and I do not imagine that it would be in their best interest to run him like he's a young player, especially when you guys got guys like Moses Moody and a few others on that roster that could use the minutes in the preseason. So, yeah, if he plays, I expect him to play spirited. If he does not play, there will be opportunities. As we said, Moses Moody is somebody I expect to see tonight. Jonathan Kuminga I expect to see tonight. James Wiseman, somebody I'm very excited to see tonight. And this is going to be a test for young Wiseman. And the reason why I think it's going to be a test for him is because we have a lot of defensive bigs, and he's going to have to deal with them. Simple and plain. Guys like Damien Jones, Bryant, these are physical guys. AD, they're going to have to manage. He's going to have to manage the physicality that they throw at him, and we're going to see where he's at in terms of where his knee is and how that's coming along. So I'm curious about that prospect, and I think the Golden State Warriors prioritize him quite a bit. So, I think he's going to be somebody, if he doesn't continue to have knee issues, could develop to be one of the best centers in the league. So I'm very curious to finally see what he can do out there at this stage after the injury. Of course, we have our own guys to be concerned with, needless to say, that we're excited about seeing tonight. And one of them is Max Christie, somebody who I've read has had the most minutes in the preseason thus far. And I don't have a problem with that. I think he's been showing a lot of pop off the screen. He's been rebounding the ball, even though the jump shot hasn't quite fallen as consistently as he's taking it. You've seen good shot selection and an ability to hit mid-range shots, and that's something I'm really excited about in regards to him, on top of the defensive things that we've talked about a lot in regards to him. So Max Christie is somebody I want to continue to see get a lot of minutes in the preseason as usual, because at the end of the day, this is what this is about. Not necessarily seeing the older guys run around and wearing them down, but more so making sure we establish, as I said, that bench unit that ultimately will keep leads instead of losing, which is what we've found is a problem of ours in this preseason. So um, I do think a lot of what we've seen has been by design. I think we've been trying certain things and we've expected some of those things not to quite work. But at the same time, you do want to try them just to see what you can and cannot try. So I think that's kind of what it is that the coaching staff is doing there. Everybody's new at the end of the day. So this is absolutely day one, as opposed for some teams who have a day one, but they got a couple new players and all this and that. When the coach is new, from his perspective, everything's new. So I'd expect he's going to be doing a lot of different things in his adjustment period right now. So I'm excited about what I've seen thus far from our coaching staff as it pertains to the offense, man. It's looked really, really good. When it's run properly, you can clearly see that the pace is much quicker than it was last year. You can see the emphasis on rhythm is more so there. You see more movement, pick and roll, which is something I've missed so very much. I don't remember the last time I seen Purple and Gold run pick and roll. I honestly don't. Like, seriously, we don't. It's one of those things where even in eras past, it didn't seem like we ran the pick and roll very much. It just seemed like that was something that the era was about, except for us, like all the time. So I'm happy to see us run a very simple pick and roll consistently, like the rest of the league. It makes for a very, very fluid offensive type of game that I'm just not used to seeing my team do. So thank God for that. Seriously, more pick and rolls, more spacing, more driving lane opportunities and stuff like that. All of the offense that I've been wanting to see my team run my entire life, Darvin Hamlin's brought to the table. I'm serious. Just from an offensive standpoint, for what I like to see, this is heaven sent. Heaven sent to have a. And the thing about it, I didn't really think about this, and maybe I've said it on camera, maybe I haven't, but Darvin Ham's a dunker. So his mindset for what he's most comfortable with as a player is going to be about creating lanes for dunkers and people who have athletic ability. So that's really, really, really fascinating to me in terms of a philosophy and basis standpoint from which to sprout everything else out in your offense. I really like the fact that he creates those lanes, and I think for the future of the Lakers, that's going to attract some guys who will want to play in that style in this uniform. So yeah, be excited about that. If I'm a guy like Jalen Green or somebody who can jump like crazy, somebody, just anybody can think, Shaden Sharp, somebody in Portland, that dude's flying all over the place. People who have that ability, this offense is for you. Simply put, if you can fly, it's for you. Anthony Edwards, yeah, this is that offense. So I'm super excited about that part of this thing because Bron's going to have a good time here. Walker, he's going to have a great time in that. So you can see the players that are really going to take advantage of it on this roster already. And I think Westbrook should be able to. No question about it. This is the offense you want him in. So, yeah, that's what it's about. I think Dennis Schroeder's going to love driving to the basket as well. That's one of the things that he does very well. And I'm curious to see how the Lakers are going to slot everybody in once he gets back down there. Still got to consider Patrick Beverly's going to get a lot of minutes. Obviously, Scottie Pippen is someone we're leaning on a lot in this preseason and have found he can help us in some really key areas that we're going to need on both sides of the floor. So I think he's going to be fighting for the starting point guard position before it's over with, to be completely and utterly honest with you, depending on what types of trades we make. If we don't make the big trade that gets the big player, I think he's going to be fighting for that. You know, if the roster stays the way it is, it might shake out to be Scottie by the end. I really think it, because at the end of the day, his playmaking, and if he can stretch the floor and hit threes, which is something I think he was not very good at, then you're going to want him down there as a youthful player who's very, very strong and can keep up with the smaller guys. Of course, Austin Reeves is in that mix as well, but I think Austin Reeves is somebody who's probably going to have to slot in other positions like the 3 spot, since we're kind of deficient there. I could totally see us, depending on how things go, leaning on him, Austin Reeves, to be R3. Maybe not permanently, but for as long as it's necessary, because he can do those things. He can kind of play against bigger players and things of that nature. And with Troy Brown being out, some of the other guys kind of being undersized in that situation, Stanley Johnson not being out, yeah, it may be necessary for us to use him at the 3 a little more. So far, we've been trying it, and it's been looking good. So, you know, you think about those aspects, you think about the defensive aspect of that, the possibilities are endless. You know, I'm looking at just who all plays the defensive side this year. It's a good portion of the team. And so if they work their defensive principles and play to the strengths of those players, We're going to have a dynamic down there that's going to be literally the opposite of what we had last season from a defensive standpoint. Last year we couldn't stop nobody, didn't look to stop nobody, had no rim protection. It was a rebounding nightmare, all of that. This year, I expect the only real issues this team is going to have is shooting the three ball. And to be honest with you, the way our offense is set up, there are going to be times where we're not going to care about that because there's going to be so much ball movement. The mid-range shot is something that some of these players are going to be taking advantage of. And then we have so many players in there that are going to be able to get easy buckets and easy putback stuff. So even if we break three-point shots, if we're rebounding properly, we should be able to get good possessions out of those situations even when we break. So I think we're built to rebound what it is that we may be breaking if you look at the type of bigs that we have in place. So I hope I'm right by that. I'm not the greatest basketball mind, but when I look at the type of players we have, they should be good at 50-50 balls and things of that nature, just in case we miss shots. So, you know what I mean? Patrick Beverly is a very good three-point shooter. Juan Toscano-Anderson, by percentage, has shot very well as well, above 39%, I think. Those are things we can use, very much so. Even though we think of ourselves as not a shooting team, that's something we could use. I want Anthony Davis to shoot better. I think he will since the wrist is back to normal. If that's the case, our shooting's going up. Because just by sheer nature, if he's back to himself, at least he can crawl up into the mid-30s at the behind the three-point arc. I believe that. I've seen his form when he's at his best. He's not deficient. He's one of the great shooters out there. It's just about where his conditioning is, in my opinion. And so that's why I want us to continue to rest his back. I'm not worried about the short-term mindset of, oh my God, he's hurt already. He's coming back from injury. So if he needs to rest, he needs to rest. So that's what I got to say. And I have that thought about other players around the league who are coming back from injury. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. At the end of the day, resting is something that will help with the ultimate working your way back into your condition. So that's part of it. Let's see. Obviously, we want to continue to talk about the players who are playing well. I would be remiss to not mention that I've liked what I've seen out of Wenyen Gabriel, but I haven't seen enough of him. So that's something I want the Lakers to kind of get back to. I think we're just a much better team from an energy standpoint when he's on the floor. Simply put, I don't think we prioritize him enough within the pecking order of what it is that we're doing just yet. But as he continues to play well and continue to keep his confidence up, I think he'll do that. He'll earn that. So I expect that we will continue to see more lineups with him in it. God, we have a great team. Kendrick Nunn has exceeded my expectations, and he's back to looking like the Kendrick Nunn I was excited about seeing in Miami. And it's been a long time since that player was around. So what he's doing and the way he's attacking, I just want to continue to see him do that. I have absolutely no issues with what I've seen, and I'm excited about him continuing to do it. Simply put, change nothing. So that's a few things to say. Thomas Bryant, same thing. I love what he's doing from an energy perspective, getting to the line, putting an emphasis on being physical, putting an emphasis on throwing his body all around. I just want him to, get with the proper people he needs to learn how to fall better. That's going to be very essential for Thomas Bryant. I think I've mentioned it once before. I'm going to say it again. If you're going to play that way, you have to learn exactly how best to land, man. Because he been landing on his shoulders, he been landing awkward and stuff like that, and he throws himself around too much for that. I would be trying to learn all the stuff that the stuntmen know. I want to learn exactly how to fall so that when I do, I can limit any opportunity I have to the worst of things, because he's taking on too many injuries, and he still want to keep playing like this. And I'm telling you, his career won't last if he keeps that way. It just won't last, man. So that's what I think he should try to consider. It ain't just about conditioning. It's about limiting what needs to be limited so you can lengthen your career. It's a marathon, man. So that's what I want to say to all athletes, especially the ones who want to throw themselves around. Not everybody's built like Dennis Rodman. You will crumble. Somebody just ain't for all that. Your mind, yeah, for sure. But the body, So that's just something I'm thinking about. Damien Jones, I love how he's been playing as well with the minutes he's been given. Very physical defensively, rebounding the ball, blocking shots, staying within his lane. I know we want him to shoot the three, as we've mentioned. I'm not against guys getting better at what they want to try to get better at, but we want to make sure that they're at that level before asking him to do those things. We talked about that, no big deal. But I like what I've seen from him thus far, and he's one of the big reasons why I think a guy like Wiseman needs to worry about physicality of a game like tonight or anytime you go up against the Lakers, because you got to deal with one of those guys, and that particular one is physical. Damien Jones is a physical player, and I expect him to stay above the rim. So continue to give him lobs. I want to see more opportunities with him on the floor with Bron and all of our facilitators. Obviously, Westbrook as well, because I think that's a good player for him to kind of dump the ball to and get some easy assists. So, yeah, those are things that I'm thinking about. Curious to see how LeBron James is shooting, because he was cold, ice cold in the first game, super hot in the second game, and we haven't seen him since. So I wonder if he finds his way back to a balanced place, or if he continues to stay hot. Hopefully he does. Not that it really matters since the preseason, but just for him in his rhythm. And so AD as well. I don't know if he'll give it a go tonight. Like I said, I didn't see him on the injury report, but the last time we saw him, he was killing it. 11 and 11 with some other stats as well. So I'm always looking for AD to exceed the expectations that have been so low as of late, and he started off the season doing that. Not worried about him resting. I think rest is good for him. And like I said, we got the bigs for it, so you don't have to play when he's not feeling physically right. So that's what I have to say there. More J Huff. Cole Swider. I don't want us to lose faith in Cole Swider as it pertains to giving him minutes and letting him shoot, because I think that by the time the end of the game came around, when he was struggling as bad as he was, he did find a few. And a lot of times in the history that I've seen, especially with players that are shooters, that's usually what it is. They just need to finally see it fall. And once they do, okay, yeah, go to sleep that night, wake up, and they're fine. That's how the slump ends, with them at the end of the slump finally getting a few to fall. So I saw him get that few to fall, and I think with the other things that he does well for our team, we would be remiss to look at him and say he sucks, because he can't buy a bucket as a shooter, because he has rebounded well. The defensive stats are there. The intangibles are there. Listening to people who talk about the game from a much stronger basketball IQ perspective than myself, they tell us that the intangibles are there. He just needs to get the shooting mechanics together and work on other aspects of his game, particularly his handle, which to my eyesight needs a lot of work. But that's the thing. It's like you want to tell the absolute whole story about a player when they're struggling. Is he doing the other things that help? Yeah, he's doing a lot of the other things that help when he's down there, but he's hurting us with the shooting, and that has to come around. So that's what I think of Cole Swider. I do believe he needs to go back to the drawing board, if that means the G League, practice whatever's best, but give him more attention, not less, because of the struggles. That's what I want to say. It ain't the time to get off the Cole Swider train. Absolutely not. Still our very best shooter. I'm telling you that. I'm gonna stay saying that until I see them shots fall, because I already know he is that. So I'm high on him, but he needs a lot of work, and that's the balance and the understanding. So that's that. Who else, man? There's everybody's playing the level I want to see them play at from an effort perspective. I just think that our efficiency issues are going to be something that we're going to have to work out as a team. Guys have efficiency issues from player to player to player. Westbrook's not very good at that. Walker's not very good at that. Swider, Pippen, all these guys, they're going to miss their shots. As a team, we have to understand that is of their nature and try to create opportunities for them to play to their strengths offensively, or not take too many shots, or whatever's best basketball-wise. But that's going to be something we have to manage, because if not, we're going to get blown out a lot when these guys start breaking shots. We're going to lose leads a lot when these guys start breaking shots. So if I'm a strategist, I'm trying to create opportunities to anticipate that if I'm the coaching staff, and what needs to be done to manage that as best as possible. They're going to get back leads because they're going to miss shots. Figure it out. That's what I would tell Darvin Ham. Figure it out, straight up and down. Because until we get that shooting, I just think that's what it's going to be. Some of our guys just don't have they're not going to be able to choose good shots on their own. You know what I mean? I'm seeing that early. So that's something that all of our guys, our young guys, are going to have to just get better at. And I think with a lot of practice time, we will. Definitely confident of that. So that's what I got to say, man. And a lot of that's on Bron, man. We know, everybody knows this is Bron's ship. Even though it's Darvin Ham's team, it's on Bron, man. His body language, his belief in the guys. When I say don't give up on Cole Swider, it starts with him. Definitely starts with him. Not to say that I've seen anything at all. I'm just saying he's the one that needs to not. If everybody else is giving up on people, it needs not be him. That's the point. Let everybody else give up, not Bron. Now that's what I would tell him, because as long as he's on board, he knows that with all the history of 19 years of using players that have struggled in various different situations, he knows that he can make players better. He knows that at this point. He knows if a guy's breaking 100 shots right now, he might be able to make 25 in January. You know what I mean? Just from playing with him. So yeah, don't get frustrated is what I tell LeBron. We know we're not that great of a team yet, but we can get a lot better, I think, really quickly, to be honest with you. I really believe that, especially with the type of IQ of some of these players and some of the strengths that they have. They help keep AD and Bron healthy, and I think that's all it's about. Once you get them two giant Hall of Fame monsters to a playoff situation and it's them playing off each other, a lot of these little young whippersnapper teams are going to crumble. They're going to crumble. I promise you're going to crumble. Why? Because they have to deal with the physical players around our team and the little feisty guys that's going to be hounding them and distracting them. That's all AD and Bron need when they're at 100%. That's all they need. We need not forget who they are when it really comes down to it. They start getting in their bag, it's a wrap. It's going to be a wrap a lot of the time, too. And some of these teams that think they're better than us, they're going to find out that dynamics to start playing. When it's time for the palms to get sweaty, when it's time for guys for the backsides to get tight, that's when the Lakers are going to be able to impose their will. Because we got Bron, AD, Beverly. Those three minds are the ones I'm looking at. They're like, yo, we're going to win those battles because of those guys. So it's going to be on them. Starts with AD's health. Bron James' body language and his willingness to continue to play defense, his willingness to put his body on the line like crazy. And of course, Patrick Beverley staying centered in what is bound. We look at what Draymond just did. That's what I want to say to Patrick Beverley. We look at what Draymond just did, bro. He needed to find a balance between being the enforcer and what hurt himself and his brand and his team. I've seen him make that mistake himself. And so, not to put the pressure on him because he's a Laker. No, just because of what the mission is. That he's a Laker is byproduct of nothing. It's the mission. Last year he was excited to get out of the first round, brother. I think we can get a ring this time. But we're not going to get it if you don't find that balance. You know what I mean? And I'm sure our team will help you find it. I'm sure everybody was rooting for you to help you find that. But that whole pushing Chris Paul in the back, that's going to hurt us. That's going to keep us from doing it. That type of vibe, whatever that was that had you do that, that's going to keep us from winning, man. So the very thing that you did that helped those kids last year get through the first round, that's the thing that's going to help us win the championship. It's a give and take, just like with Dre. He could bring heaven or he can bring hell. Same thing with Patrick Beverley. We know that. We signed up for that. But it's up to Pat to bring us heaven, not put us through hell. That's all I got to say about that. And they ain't limited to Pat. That's everybody, including Russell. Y'all can bring heaven, you can bring hell, man. What you gonna bring? I tell you what this fan want. Damn ring. Simply put, man, we're approaching the Kobe hour. I'm excited about this preseason game, even I don't care if we win or not, although I would like us to win just in that same breath because we haven't been winning, but, we're not going to complain. I thank everybody for watching BDF 44, and I'm out.